I was back in 2009, was it, the inaugural award? We were in the RIA's beautiful, beautiful room, but this is, I don't know, what is it, about 6 times bigger perhaps? So I think that must be a measure of what was then, and still, I suppose, is still in the early startup phase, an award scheme that started as a very modest idea, has grown and grown and grown, and is set to grow even more. So it's wonderful to see you all here, and to be able to welcome so many people to Dublin Castle. It's a nice venue for this because historically, of course, this place was so associated with keeping people in their place. Can I put it that way? And that place would have been a narrow little place. It wasn't a place that encouraged people to consider themselves people who could blossom, who could make a great contribution to their place, to the world. But now to be in the company of people who believe very passionately in encouraging excellence and encouraging young people, in particular young undergraduates, to really believe in their own intellectual power, their own intellectual muscle and their voice, to be able to use and bring their best, to use their talents in all sorts of disciplines without that sense of being kept in a box, to be encouraged to leave the box, to fly, to soar. And back in 2009, I had a feeling these awards would grow. To see I didn't think that we would be having, mind you, so soon that we'd be having visitors from the United States, that you would have extended to the United States. So a very special welcome to those who are here from the United States. You're very, very, very welcome. Great to see the introduction of the pilot program for gifted students from our friends across the Atlantic. And can I wish each one of you our traditional welcome to visitors as Céad Míle Fáilte, 100,000 welcomes to you. And I hope the day does come when 100,000 students from the United States will be competing for these awards. I think one of the reasons why this focus on undergraduate study is just so important has something, I think, to do with, it was Jacob Bronowski who said it, that students bring a certain barefoot irreverence to their studies. He said they are not here to worship what is known, but to question it. And that's exactly what the undergraduate brain can bring to the whole area of so many disciplines with so many questions that need that kind of raw questioning. It's like years ago, my daughter, who did not subsequently become a theologian, regrettably, but we were talking about, we had a teacher of religion in the house, and my daughter was then about 5 or 6, and she asked, and they were asking about who made the world, and the teacher said, well, God made the world. And my daughter replied, yeah, I know that, she said, I know that. But what I want to know is, where was he standing when he made the world? I thought it was a great question, but anyway, she never did get into the theology after that. But if we add to the mix, William Butler Yeats's idea of education, that it's not the filling of a pail, but rather the lighting of a fire, the passion, the intellectual forensic curiosity, the sense of wonder, the sense of that questioning, of always finding a question that nobody else has thought of to ask, and one that, when it is asked, illumines a subject in a way and from a perspective that nobody has thought of before, but now could no longer think of again, could never think of that subject again in the same way or the same light. And in our world, we know there are so many subjects to be explored, so many questions to be asked, and importantly, in the answering of them, particularly, in this time when analysis sometimes is so instantaneous, we really do need people who are prepared to take time analysing, who are patient in their analysis, who are scholarly in their analysis, who do not rush to instant judgment, but who are prepared to invest the effort so that the answer at the far end is rooted, is grounded, is solid, is credible. And that's what you help to inculcate in our undergraduates, that belief in the patient pursuit of the scholarly probing, the scholarly answer. And the willingness, in fact, as so many scientists we know and so many, many scholars, the willingness to go down cul-de-sacs. and the willingness to be prepared at the end to be at a cul-de-sac and to have to turn and come all the way back up again. That willingness to endure that journey that may not lead to an opening, but even the very fact that you end up in a cul-de-sac, that what you have opened up tells you that you were on the wrong track, to understand intuitively that that information is now a very important part of the resource base from which we launch the next set of questions to find the next set of answers. So our country, this island, and in fact our world generally, we need young scholars to commit to that kind of research that opens up the world of knowledge to the rest of us, that drives innovation, that really relishes and revels in creativity. The student who for years has sat reading books written by people whom he admires or is inspired by, or she admires or is inspired by, to have that student at age 18, 19, 20, 21, or indeed our mature undergraduates, to have them say, but I could be the person who writes those books. I don't always have to be the passive receiver of other people's ideas. I can be the person who can use that book as my platform for my work. To make that jump is a very, very important thing, and I think that's what you do so brilliantly through these awards, to give our undergraduates a sense of their own purposefulness, the fact that they could be the people, any one of them could be the people who write the texts of the next generation. So today, we salute the best from among over almost 2,500 entries from 41 third-level institutes, both north of the border and south of the border, a further 36 from the United States. Wonderful to see so many of them with such a high percentage, almost 90% achieving first-class honours. Extraordinary. The range of subjects is just, well, it's phenomenal. From sectarianism to thermodynamics, it's a pretty big leap. From human rights to bank interest rates, the level of achievement, the level of wonder, the level of intellectual curiosity is absolutely astounding. And so we gather to showcase those, to showcase that pursuit of excellence. Now, when we do that, we gather today in pride, obviously. There's a great degree of pride around those who will have won the awards. But actually, when we go right back down the line to the day when the notices inviting entry for the awards went up on the internet or on the faculty office board, when there was that distance to be travelled, a lot of people will have seen the notices. Not everybody responded, because they're effectively a challenge to the student to push, test, stretch themselves beyond what they're being asked to do just for the purposes of getting their degree. And they also, of course, had to take the challenge, and then in taking it, they have to make themselves amenable to scrutiny by people from all over the world, and we're very grateful to the panel of judges who gave their time freely to be able to enjoy this day and to be able to have faith in their judgment on this day. So undergoing that process, the young people who took on that challenge have gone through a fairly rigorous process, and they arrive here at the end of that journey with, I hope, really considerably enhanced levels of self-belief, confidence in their ability, the confidence that comes from knowing now that they have been tested against the best and by the best. And so I hope that the process will lead each one of them now to really good career options, really good choices in their lives, great fulfilment, because there's no doubt that people who are accompanied through life by an active intellectual curiosity, by a kind of wonder, a restless wonder about life, first of all, they've got a very good lifelong companion. That's the first thing, to have that intellectual wonder. They're never bored and they're never boring. And hopefully they have more than that. They'll have the means to earn a really good living, but also to live very fulfilled and happy and contented lives. Certainly the economic narrative of this island and the economic narrative of the world inhabited by all of us who are gathered here today will be all the better for having behind it this push, this heft that comes from having the kind of intellectual muscle that this competition encourages. And I want to commend Oisin and Paddy, who initiated the awards, who nurture among our undergraduates a faith in their capacity for originality. I want to acknowledge Jim Barry and Anya Maria Mazzoni, Chair and Vice Chair respectively, founding directors of the awards. And I want to wish you very well as you plan to push out into the deep again, yet again, by extending the awards to the United Kingdom, to Canada, to Australia, to New Zealand, to Asia. I think this is a great, great development. Obviously, the fact that these have grown so quickly, so rapidly, says something about the fact that they were just waiting to happen. Somebody was always going to find this space, and I'm so glad that it was found here in Ireland. And I'm so glad that Ireland is making of itself a centre of intellectual gravity for undergraduate excellence. To all the students who made submissions, a very big thank you for pursuing your best so enthusiastically. And to all the winners, a huge congratulations. You're exactly the kind of people that we need right now, the kind of people that give us a bit of hope, give us a lift, make us think that in the present and in the future, we have the makings of problem solving. We're surrounded, we're beset on all sides by all sorts of problems, but somehow those problems seem more manageable when we see also around us so many great problem solvers. So every success to you. I hope, and I'm sure that we will always be as proud of each one of you as we are on this very special day for you. Cógáird is liverich, gur mila mila maithagad.